Hey guys, it's Graham. Welcome back to Truckerman Reads. Today's book is a boys' adventure novel from Raconteur Press. In the interest of full disclosure, I am also published with Raconteur Press, but they gave me this copy to read because I'm a reviewer for Upstream Reviews. So it's not because hey, you're also published with us. Now you've got to say nice things about this other book. No, it's nothing like that. You guys know my rule. If you're new here, it's that I don't recommend a book unless I've actually read it and I actually enjoyed it. This is the third boys' adventure book that I've read from Raconteur, and I like what they're doing. Frederick Key is the author on this one. It's called I've Got This, and it's a story about a kid named Quentin. His family moves from a big city to a small town, and Quentin has a strange ability. It's kind of, he calls it a superpower. His friends call it a superpower. It's kind of a magic ability. It's not explained in any detail why he has this, and it's not really relevant to the story, at least how did he end up with this? All that really matters is what it is and what it does. He occasionally gets these inexplicable but very firm urges to pick up something that he sees and put it in his backpack or put it in his pocket. And later that day, it turns out it'll be something that will be tremendously useful to him. He just, for one reason or another, happens to have the right tool for the job at any given time. And while he's had this knack kind of sparingly growing up, when his family moves to this new town, this knack starts hitting him more and more often. And he quickly begins to figure out why. He makes some friends with the local kids at school, and they find out, or he finds out through them, that this town has a local legend. Apparently, 50 years ago, some guys robbed a bank, and misfortune fell upon all those involved. One guy died, the others kind of went AWOL. The treasure was never recovered. The missing money was never recovered. And so it's kind of like a DB Cooper situation. Like, nobody knows what happened to this guy, or where he came from, how he ended up doing what he did, and got away with it, and what have you. But they know that, well, they've got a strong assurance, rather, that the money is still in this town. And so Quentin and his friends decide to, for a school project, to try to finally solve this 50-year mystery of what happened to the money. And he's going to use his ability to do it, but it's not something that he can consciously control, and it's not always clear to him. In fact, it's usually not clear to him why he needs whatever it is that his knack tells him to take, until La Raville Magnifico, until the moment of truth hits. And sometimes it can even get him in trouble. Like, he'll grab something that will be useful in a crucial moment for a girl that he likes. Other times, like there's one instance where he has to grab something from the kitchen, no idea why, and it turns out to be very helpful in repelling a bully, but without giving away how this happens, this ends up getting him in trouble. He hasn't been able to really explain or prove or demonstrate this ability to his parents, so he just doesn't tell them about it. And as such, it can get him into trouble. He even gets grounded. But he still does what he can to not only make friends and be a good kid, but also solve this particular mystery. Now, me being an adult reader and a seasoned writer, there were some twists and turns that I saw coming. There were a couple of moments here and there where it surprised me. I thought, okay, that's cool. And it didn't exactly end the way that I thought it was going to. It was very wholesome. It was very, uplifting and all of that. And, the characters were challenged as they ought to be. It did what it needed to do. And I think it was another, again, strong installment in this boys' adventure lineup that Raconteur Press is doing. Whenever I read books like this, I try to think of what my own son's responses to them would be, because they're right in that target age range for these boys' adventure novels. And whether I'm impressed or not has a little bit less to do with the success of the book. I think, okay, I know if I read this to my oldest son, or if my second son came across this particular development in the story, he'd be impressed with that. He'd be like, oh, cool, and he'd want to tell me about it. It succeeds on that front. Out of the 3 Raconteur Press boys' adventure books that I've read, then I think this one has the strongest element of mystery. Dreams of Golden Fire was the dragon book, Boy's Own Starship was the spaceship book, and those both kind of followed the same path of, like, hey, we've got ambitious boy characters that set out to do something, and in many ways it blows up in their faces, and it's not what they expect, and they have to face consequences of their miscalculations, and then they have triumphant adventures in the end, which is all fine and well and good. This one, it didn't exactly follow that path. There were upsides and downsides to Quentin having this ability, and he has to basically, like, he wants to try to be a good kid while he navigates having this. He wants to do the right thing in the right way, and there are some twists and turns and some surprises and reveals as he and his friends solve this old mystery and say, hey, we're getting pretty good at this, maybe we can do it elsewhere. So, fun book, good for young readers. Short review because there's not much to say beyond that. No real issues with, like, the content or anything. Like, oh no, Quentin defeats a bully through psychological warfare. But yeah, check that out. Drive safe. See you out there.